We've been finding these gifts all over our property, mainly here in the yard. This is our visitor, or not a visitor, a permanent resident, I would say. It's a marten. That's the English term that we found. It's a mammal, weasel-like mammal, that likes to live in attics, here as well. And it can steal eggs from chickens, or it can even kill chickens, so it's not fun to have. We don't have chickens, but yeah, so these gifts are everywhere. I can show you. For example, here, or here, or here, or of course here, by the stairs to the attic. So we will take a look there.
We know it lives here because we caught it on camera. And our main problem is that we have insulation here, which we put here a couple of years ago, and we didn't want it to destroy it or something because it lives in the insulation or on the insulation, and it pees and poops all over.
Yeah.
So
Look, for example, here we can see signs. So that's not great.
yeah, we've been wondering what to do about it. Maybe we should buy a trap or something and then release it in the woods or something, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
We also tried to close this part by putting some kind of barrier here. We never really come here, so it could be permanent or kinda permanent, but it's a bit irregular shaped, so at the moment we don't have anything to cover it with, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like an easy task, but it's not. That's why we'll probably buy a trap and catch it alive and then release it somewhere far away from here.
Yeah.
We will see. We haven't bought anything yet.
It's not such a huge issue.
Yeah, not a huge issue, but it is an issue. It's been bothering us for some time now, and the main concern is the insulation because it could lower the quality of the insulation. It's quite normal for these martens to live in attics of old houses. It's normal that they are around people. They like it for some reason. So this is not something exceptional, but it's a problem.
From what we read, martens eat basically everything, all kinds of animals. It can even eat voles, which would be nice for us, but I think that's a small part, and it's mainly dangerous for people with chickens. That's why people who have chickens have to close them in chicken coops for the night, so that the marten couldn't get in and kill them. And when it gets in, it can kill all the chickens and not even touch them. Like, it doesn't eat the chickens, it just leaves them there dead, and just for fun, so it can be quite dangerous.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Maybe you've never heard of martens, especially if you are from the US. From what we read, it was dragged there, but they mentioned mainly Wisconsin. So if you are not from Wisconsin, then I guess maybe you've never seen one.
Yeah, it's not native in North America.
Some root celeries in our garden. Actually all of them. This is the first time I'm harvesting them. They're quite small. I don't know how to grow them big like from store, but they should still be edible. And Peter makes a great soup out of them, so we should try that. The soil is a little bit frozen, but it's possible to dig them out, so I don't think they like frost much, so we should eat them while we still can. February is the perfect time to harvest some Jerusalem artichokes, and since it the soil isn't frozen anymore, we can give it a go. We are giving it a go.
Yeah.
And there are some here. But they are in the grass, so it's a little bit harder to take them out. And we found out new information this year. Apparently, if you ferment them, then you don't become as bloated as you normally do when you eat them. So I think Peter is going to try that.
Yes, because sometimes they are called fartichokes instead of Jerusalem artichokes, but the fermentation should be better against the farting part. So,
we'll see. We'll let you know.
Yes.
Big one.
In the end, quite a nice harvest for February. Here we have leeks. Here we have the root celeries, so we cleaned them up a bit and they look like this, so you use the root. I will make soup. Here are our last carrots, right?
Yeah.
Here is a horseradish, not in a very good condition, but there is one nevertheless. And here the Jerusalem artichokes. So I think that's great, fresh veggies from the garden beds.
And we also have some greens, which we harvested yesterday and ate.
Yes, so that's amazing. And we will also take potatoes with us to the city and
Apples.
So those are stored goodies, but these ones are fresh from the ground. That's amazing for February.
Yeah.
This is how the root celery looks when it is cleaned. In the city, I was making a spread out of it. I just steamed the celeries and carrots cut into small pieces. Then I mashed them. I added salt, powdered onion, tartar sauce and a bit of mustard. I mixed everything together, spread it on toasted bread, and a yummy lunch was done. It was very tasty. Here we are in yet another episode of Cooking with Peter. Woohoo! Yay! Today we are going to bake a traditional savory pastry from Slovakia called Pagáče. The internet says that it's similar to flaky scones or soft biscuits. That's how I should explain it to Americans or, I don't know, English-speaking people.
So now you surely know.
Yes, it's always a mess with pastries. I never know how to categorize them, so this is called Pagáče and you'll see how it looks later. Hopefully it will be a success. So these are all the ingredients we will need for dough, but first we need to start with preparing the yeast. So here we have 150 milliliters of lukewarm water. We will add half a teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of this dried yeast. Ours is expired, so it doesn't work very well, so I will add 3 teaspoons. But normally you just add 1. I just know how this works now. Later I will need more. So 1 teaspoon of this yeast. And we will mix this. And we will wait, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes. It needs to rise, create bubbles, and you will see activity there. 10 to 15 minutes later we are back. The yeast is activated. Ours is slightly activated. So I'm hoping it will be okay. And we will make the dough now. I would like our pastries to be a bit healthier, so of course I'm using my favorite whole grain spelt flour. And here we have 300 grams. So I will put it here. Now we will add 1 teaspoon of salt. And we will mix this. And now I will pour the yeast in. And I will mix this together. It will create this consistency. And we also need to incorporate 90 grams of softened butter. So let's put that in as well. It's a bit messy, but that's me. And
That's baking.
that's baking, yes. And it will get even messier now, because I need to use my hands, of course.
You need to get your hands dirty, guys.
It's flying everywhere already. And yes, we will just create the dough. I think the dough is done. It's a bit sticky, so that's normal. Don't be discouraged. And now we will take a cloth with my dirty hands. We will cover the bowl and we will put it somewhere warm for 1 hour, and the dough should rise. I always put the dough here on the radiator. And maybe you noticed, it was my birthday yesterday, so I'm old, older than before. So we need to wait 1 hour.
The first flowers are starting to appear. It's still only February, and this February isn't as warm as last year. I would say it's just regularly warm, as we are used to from the recent years. And here we have our first hellebore of the season. It's slowly opening, and there are many more getting ready. You can see around it. I think this one is flowering for the first time. Last year we saw these two flowering. We have 3 different kinds. So this one seems to be the earliest, and this one is getting ready somewhere as well, I think. But they will all flower at different times probably, or they will overlap. But it's cool to see that something is already coming in February. Our winter jasmine is also starting very slowly. There's a flower here and there. One here, one here. They're like half open. But there are many prepared, so I think in the upcoming weeks or even a month or 2 we will see a lot of a lot of flowers appearing on this plant. And of course the first snowdrops are showing up. We can see 2 so far. We have an earlier variety here under this tree. I think I planted like 10 bulbs here, so more of them should show up soon. We already know from previous years they are the first kind of snowdrops to show up. But you can see that we have a lot of moles here with a lot of holes everywhere. So they like to dig through the bulbs. So hopefully the snowdrops will survive and we will see them soon. But overall you can see that the garden is still asleep. This is how it typically looks in February. So we have to look very carefully to find some beauties around.
We gave each other a haircut recently, so I'm not blonde anymore.
Now Peter is naturally blonde, as he keeps telling me.
That's what I like to say, but this is normal brown or something. And we are ready for warmer days.
It was about time.
Yes, so warm days, please hurry up. We are waiting.
We are ready.
Yeah. 1 hour later, here we are. Look, the dough has risen. And now we need to put it here on this parchment paper. I will use a bit of flour because it can be sticky. It's still sticky. So, oh wow, this is going nicely. I'm surprised. And I was thinking I should use a rolling pin, but it's going this way. We don't want it very thin, maybe 1 centimeter height. And now we need a cutting thingy, which I don't have the original one, so here I have a small glass. I will put it here in the flour, just a bit so it's not sticky. And I will just start cutting these circles, like for, I don't know, Christmas cookies or something. But these ones are more puffier. And now I will just take the future Pagáče, which is plural. One is one Pagáč. And we will just put them here on the baking pan. They are quite greasy because of the butter. Look at my hands, I don't know if you can see it.
They sparkle.
Yeah, but I like it because it's not very sticky anymore, the dough. Now we need to put the rest of the dough together and we will start again the same process. So let's put this together and again. And we will cut more circles. In the end, we have 44 of them, so that's cool. This one,
The last one.
the last one is a bit bigger, and I'm glad they all fit here. And now we will keep them here for additional 20 minutes, so they rise a bit more, and then we will continue. You can cover them with a cloth, but I don't do that because that would be a bit messy, so I will just keep them here for 20 minutes.
You know, we don't really renovate, but we still try to make the place a little bit nicer and more convenient for us, even though we don't live here full time. And already, I think at the end of last summer, we bought a new fridge because the old one, which is still there, was too small for our harvest. And later, at the end of the year, we added this shelf system because we need more space for the appliances. So I reorganized the stuff to make more space elsewhere, which always makes me happy. And last thing we have done so far is we added recently, a couple of weeks ago, additional shelves here. There was just a little table here which was good for nothing, so we replaced it, and now we have space for our harvest again.
Mm-hmm.
This is the rest only of our squashes from last autumn. Normally it would be full, but we had a full floor in the living room instead, so now we moved them here. And as they keep going away, as we keep eating them, we will replace them, for example, in the spring with seeds that I will start in pots and then harvest in the summer and so on. So I think we will just keep replacing things here, but we need more storage.
Yes, and we still have one zucchini as well. So
yeah, that's pretty
cool.
This is the first time that we are storing zucchinis and not eating them right away because we've had so many of them. So next year we will know, and we will have maybe even more. And also we found a way to reuse our old tablecloth We put it under the squashes because we replaced it with a newer one. So we don't like throwing things away, throwing things out, so it's here now.
That's amazing. We are reusing old stuff.
Yeah, it's important.
And now we will decorate the little pagáče. So here I have 1 egg. We will put that here in the bowl. We need to beat the egg, so it's just one consistency, one yellow thing. I'm going to brush the pastries with the egg, just slightly. And now we are going to decorate. Here I have hazelnuts. I will put hazelnuts just on a few of them because I haven't tested this. But this is how it's done. It's normal to have hazelnuts on these pastries.
And the important thing to mention is that these are our hazelnuts from our garden.
Exactly. So they will make the pastries so much tastier. Okay, so
that looks very tidy and organized, like from me.
This is totally me. And here I have sesame seeds. So I will put these ones on the rest of them. And just a tiny amount. This is just for fun. It's not essential.
Just to make it look cute.
Yes. So there has to be something, otherwise it's boring. You can also use a bit of grated cheese or other seeds. You know what you like.
But you don't want boring pastry.
Yes, that's what we need to avoid.
At all costs.
It looks like we are done here. The pagáče are decorated. So we will just put them in the oven. So I preheated the oven on 180 degrees Celsius and we will put this in for 15 to 20 minutes. We need to watch them because sometimes it goes quite fast. So yeah, we need to be careful not to burn them. 25 minutes went by like nothing. So it took a bit longer than expected. And here we are. Ta-da! These are our baked pagáče.
So pretty.
Yeah, they look nice and they smell very nice. Some of them stayed a little bit flat. That's not how it should be. It should be puffier like this one. So yeah, it's because of our yeast. But overall they look very nice. Pagáče are best freshly baked, still warm. So we will eat, yes, we will eat them soon. And you eat them as a snack, or sometimes you can eat them to creamy soups. So you have a creamy soup and you eat these ones to it instead of normal bread. They smell nice, right?
Hopefully they are not hot anymore.
Oh. And they are quite crunchy, quite flaky, like they are layers in the pastry.
And they are delicious.
This is it.
Very good.
Guys, I am happy that this is another success. And we need to taste these ones with hazelnuts. It adds a unique flavor, but different to what I was expecting. These hazelnuts are there is more flavor in them than in store-bought, I think.
It's definitely different when it's from your garden, as with everything.
There are many different varieties of these pastries. Some are made of potato dough, those ones are softer, you know, and you can put various things on them, as I was saying, for decorating. And yeah, they are very common in Slovakia. You can buy some kinds even in supermarkets. So, and they are yummy, so we recommend. Yay!